Hi there. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be talking about something interesting that happened in my life a few years back when I landed a corporate job that pays 6,000 Ghana cedis per month. And mind you, at this point in my life, I did not have a degree. All I had to my name was a WASI certificate. And even though I said I feel maths, I needed to go rewrite my math. But I did it somehow. So in this video today, I'm going to be telling you about how I landed that job that paid me 6,000 cedis a month, corporate job. Mind you, disclaimer: I quit that job after a month because it wasn't for me. I didn't think that was I didn't think corporate was for me, so I quit that job. Um, but it was a fun experience, and I just thought to share with you. I'm just going to share the journey, the experience with you, the things that I learned, and the things that you can take from it. So if you're in my position, you could do that. Maybe corporate is for you, and um, maybe you have your degree already, you have your masters, and you're not getting a job, or maybe you don't have a degree, but you want to probably use my method to get those jobs as well. So this video is for you, and let's get into it.
Welcome to our channel, where we explore the intersection of finance and film.
Why did I apply for the role? So it was a sales partner role at a multinational company, which happens to be a vehicle leasing company. Now, what they were into is they were into financial lease for corporate institution and different organizations. So I applied to be a sales partner because at the time they put out an application which says we need a sales partner, and then my partner at the time, my ex girlfriend, showed it to me and then asked me if I was interested. And I'm like, I do not have a degree. How am I going to apply to a corporate job without a degree, right? But then she encouraged me that you have the skills. There are so many things you're doing outside of a degree that most people who have degrees don't do that and don't have those qualifications. So just give it a shot. And I'm like, this is interesting. So long story short, we gave it a shot. And one fateful morning, I remember very well, I was going to the gym. I was working on the main road going to the gym. And then I got a call. It was like, hello, my name is and I am the HR at and I want you to come in for an interview with my boss. And I'm like, what? Like me? They called me back. Like the people actually called me back. They saw it and they called. I'm like, what? Like, so at that point, it was my whole world view changed at that point because I'm like, how did they see my CV and thought out of all those fantastic applications you guys have, I am on the short list? Like it blew my mind. Like so that was when I applied for the job and I went in for the audition. Sorry, I went in because I'm an actor all the time. I'm talking about audition, right? So I went in for the interview. Now, when I was going in for the interview, I had to do background checks. Of course, I had to know what the company was about, which I think if you're going in for an interview, these are the things that you already know. I'm sure that you probably know or they've taught you. But if you don't know, I'm going to relist them again. You need to do your background checks of what the company is about, do your background checks on what services or products that they provide. So you kind of know the industry in which they're in, the niche in which they're in, and all that. And then if you don't have any knowledge on those, you can just probably read and just get to understand the basics of the things that they provide. Because one thing I noticed in the corporate room or the corporate interview is that they ask you questions based on what they're looking for, but in a way that it's a bit cumbersome and you kind of don't get it. So you would one share I'll bet two so. Do you get my point? So um do your research. Most importantly, do your research about each and every company. Sorry, about the company that you're going in for, you get called for an audition, and then prep your CV. So this video is a step-by-step guide, right? So the first thing I did after I noticed I didn't have a degree, obviously, was to go and put a CV together. So by that time, I'm a big tech savvy guy, all right? So I know how to get my way around the internet and stuff. So I remember I googled find CV template. That was the first time I actually put together a curriculum vitae. That was the first time I actually put together a curriculum vitae, and I put together the CV, look for templates, and then I kind of like shop around and watch videos on what corporate people look out for when HR hiring managers look out for when they are making selections in for a role. So then I look at these things, and then I look at the format I'm supposed to put in the CV, and then I followed all those steps, and then I put everything together. Now, one thing that stand out to me over there was that the only thing I saw there as experience by then was when I was working at a flower shop as basically a flower boy. I was managing the flower shop. That was the only job like experience I had. Even though at the time I worked as a garden boy. Before that, I worked as a garden boy at Zoom Landscape. Zoom Lion, a subsidiary of Zoom Lion, is Zoom Landscape. I don't know if the company still has that because almost all the top managers that I know at the time, apparently they've left. So yeah, I worked there before that, and I came to work at Amenivera Ceramics around the star bike there. They're no longer there because they moved them. And so basically, you would say I'm typically not a guy to employ because I've never stepped into a corporate room. I don't know anything about corporate. I don't know anything about suit and tie, right? And I put together the CV, and then I put together the CV. I then noticed that I had digital marketing experience. At the time, I used to do digital marketing for my own business, right? And at that time I started selling dispensers, automatic dispensers. So I started a procurement company by then, and I used to procure for companies like Kofi Annan Peacekeeping Training Center, companies like Ghana Airport Cargo, SMEC, and a couple of other companies that I have procured items for during the COVID period, 2019, 2020, 2021, there about that range, right? And I added something was like just add all of those companies onto the list, right? And then I did. So I did all of that, and then interestingly enough, those things stood out in the interview because they're like, how is this boy with no degree get to work with people like this, get to procure items from people like this? So they were rather interested in the business I was doing than the job I was applying for. And at the time, you would ask, why do I have a business? And I was struggling financially because the COVID just ended. And that was another lesson I learned in business, that you need to, when you're going into business, seasonal businesses are good, but it's just that it has a time stamp to it. You're definitely going to run out of demand, So at the time, I was only selling automatic dispensers and sanitizers. I was supplying those items. So when when the COVID stopped, the demand for the demand for those things went away. So I couldn't supply those stuff again. So I was going through a rough patch, and I was trying to restructure my life. Mind you, I live alone. I don't have any family that supports me or anything. So I need to get money to sustain myself, right? So I was going through a really, really rough patch. So I remember I had a Matisse I used to do Uber and things like that. Before that car was giving me struggles too. So I sold that car too, And so I was really, really going through a rough patch by then. Then I went into this interview, and all they were interested in is my business and why I decided to leave my business and come and look for a job. So at the point in the interview, I got confused. I'm like, are you people hiring me or you're interviewing me for a whole business? Do you understand? And mind you, I went into the interview room with my mind open. I knew I was not going to get a job. I knew, I just kind of like had this limiting belief that I was not going to get a job because, one, I did not have a degree, which fairly enough is true. I do not have a degree. I do not have anything that makes me outstanding. Oh, I remember. And then it's a multinational company. It's a French company. So one of the requirements was you need to speak French. I don't speak French. I don't speak French. So then, fast forward, I did all of that in the interview and I left. So for me, I was like, get out of here, man. They're not gonna take you. I forgot about it, and I went on with my life. 2 months later, and something was like, you know what, call these people just to get a feedback. Like my call was to get a feedback as to whether, not to see whether I got a job, like to actually have a conversation with the HR, because she was in the room. So I just got to have a conversation with the HR just to say, oh, I was the guy who came for the interview. Da, 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 da. How did you think I did? Because I remember I was in my head throughout for like 2 months. I'm like, stupid boy, why would you put yourself through that? Why would you go and do that? And all of these things. So then I placed the call, and then she answered. And she was like, hi, Melvin, how are you? And I'm like, they have my number saved. And so like, oh, so sorry we haven't gotten back to you. The MD just got married and she went on vacation with the wife. So when she comes back, you are on the short list. I'm like, I'm on the short list of people who are being considered for employment. So you would get an offer letter hopefully soon. And I'm like, wait, is the short list the employment or which one? So I had to call back. I ended the call. We ended the call and I called back. I'm like, please, man, I want to understand something. Is it that you are telling me that I am getting the job? She's like, yeah. Your interview stood out a lot because you have a lot of soft skills, you have a lot of experience in the field, even though you have not been in the corporate sector before, even though you haven't done your NSS or all of that, and even though you don't even have a degree, but based on how you carried yourself in the interview room, you stood out. So you are part of the 3 people that are being considered. And I'm like, are you choosing one person from the 3 people, or you are selecting? So we are employing 2 people actually out of the 3. And I'm like, hey, God. So for me, I felt really, really good because obviously I've gotten to this stage where what was impossible for me happened. And that's why I love this book I'm currently reading is Think and Grow Rich. And that book has a chapter in there that talks a lot about imagination. And I'm like, wow. Now that I'm reading the book, I think about the some of the experiences I had, especially this job experience, and I'm like, oh, the power of imagination. Because I just imagined, that's one, and I just took a step. Do you understand? I just imagined like, what if? It's like, what if? And the what if was an optimistic what if. And boom. And I got in. So the manager came back, they sent me the offer letter via email, and I started the work, you know. So another thing I would like to talk about is how the skills that I had at the time. So obviously I mentioned I had digital marketing skills, I had procurement background, I had a company that was procuring items for companies and things like that, right? And so that helped me a lot. And as well as I was very interested in technology. So one of the key components as to why they considered me was because of my background in cold emailing and knowing how to extract emails that you would not easily find on the internet. So I'm talking top CEOs, how to get emails of top CEOs in various organizations, their official emails, and sometimes their Gmails as well, right? Their personal mails. I had the ability, I know how to do that. It's not I had the ability, I know how to do stuff like that, and these were, by the time I don't even know the name that I would give them, like now, email scraping. Those times I didn't know the names. Like they were just skills that I picked up by learning on the internet just to help me, just to aid me in my small business at the time, right? And it turned out to be very helpful. It turned out to be really, 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 really helpful. And it was really, really interesting because I think by the first or second week, I had about, if I'm not over exaggerating, I think I still have the list here. I had about 100 and something personal contact and emails of top CEOs. I'm talking MTN, I'm talking Vodafone, I'm talking Coca-Cola, I'm talking TDC, like all these big companies. The current or even previous managers and top CEOs and top managing professionals, I had their contact and their emails. And as a sales partner, that helps you a lot, in prospecting. So that alone, and I showed them an example of what. So I remember the question was, you don't have a degree, you don't have any background in selling cars, you don't have any background in finance or all these. How are you? Why did you apply, and why do you think you're the best fit? And I showed them what I can do. I told them, you're looking for a sales partner, basically to bring you more clients. I can do that. I can do that. I was bluffing at the time, but yeah, I could. I could do that. And then I kind of show them how I was going to prospect. So they asked me, how are you going to prospect knowing the line of business that we're in? And I showed them proof. I didn't just say it. I showed them proof of how I'm going to prospect. And I showed them how to get emails of people on the internet, how to get top CEOs email, how to get their contacts, and then how to send them a proposal. So I basically show them what I can do. So I think that's something that you also need to incorporate in the next interview that you probably go in. Find something that you can show them proof of something you can do or you've already done, and then that's going to help. They asked me whether I had any background in any CRM or what's it called? What's the name of this thing? Is it ERP? Yeah, Enterprise something management software. Yeah, so like the back end of managing a company. I've forgotten what it's called. Yeah, so that I didn't have an idea of what that is, but I had an idea of what a CRM is because I bought a CRM that I used for my own procurement business at the time, so I know what a CRM was, and I just showed them the things that I was already doing, and then it helped them understand that, okay, this guy can be a really good asset to us, and I think that was it. So it was really, really fun. I just thought it was a good experience for me. Why did I quit? I said in the intro, I quit that job because I just felt it wasn't for me. Corporate is not for me. Mind you, the minute I quit that job, I went on to do a TV show. That's the story for another day. I went on to do a TV show called Books and Rhymes. I ran that company, and it's crazy, but yeah. That, and then I think 2-3 months down the line, I got a call from Shirley Frimpong to come and do was it Eno or Madame, one of those. And then that was when my acting career kicked off, and that gave me the stepping stone to be here. So yeah, that's how I started. I got into corporate, and it was really, really, really interesting. So I wrote some things down. I said, like, the big lessons I learned: take the chance. So this is going to be like the lessons that I learned, like during this adventure of corporate experience for me. I wrote some things down that I think you would find interesting. Is that take the chance when an opportunity appears. Just take the chance. You never know. Like, just shoot your shot. That's what we say, right? Like the Gen Zs would say, shoot your shot, right? Shoot your shot at anything. Like, shoot your shot. If it is if providing you're looking for the opportunity, you might not be qualified there, but just shoot your shot. You never know. What's the worst they can say? You are not qualified. We don't want you back. Then you move on. And I think I do that in my acting career as well. There are roles I just apply for. I know I'm not going to get it, but I just apply for it, So just shoot your shot. The second thing I wrote down is learn from every interview. So because I haven't had a lot of corporate interviews, I'm going to speak from the standpoint of an actor. So we go into various auditions, right? For me, if I track, like last year like this, I had about I think I went through about 700 auditions. No, is it 700? Sorry. Last year I had about 125 auditions, and I learned from every audition I went to. The ones that they say I'm too ugly for the role, oh, trust me, they said that. I'm too ugly for the role. There are some too, they say, oh, you're too fine for this role. Some, they're too tall, you're too short. There are some roles that they will tell you that, you just didn't give the emotion that we're looking for. And there are some that it is way beyond your control. Like, things that directors and casting directors look for are like crazy, right? So for me, I try my best to just learn from each experience and learn from each interview and pick things that will work for me that things that I did in that interview or in that audition room that worked for me, and then I can use it to go into the next one. Now, acting is different from corporate interview, so you need to know, you need to actually stay present and be in the moment so that you know which of them, which of the things that you're learning now that can be of benefit to you in your next interview. Another thing I learned from this my experience or this my adventure is that skills matter more than some papers. Now we live in a day and age where now soft skills are in higher demand than academic paper. You know, you need to know how to do the thing. Like people are employing experience rather than by paper degree. Yes, so you study sociology in and you have a degree for a paper that shows that yes, you've been through the educational system and you have a degree. And so what? Can you do the job? That's the most important thing. Can you do the job? You know, and so that's one thing that I've learned. I think most of us, the young ones, need to really, really put into consideration. Know how to do the job. You understand? Put yourself in the role and do the job and stay present. You know, like know how to do the job. So if you say you're going to do something, learn other skills. If you don't have a job right now, you need to start picking up other skills. For me, I picked up like a lot of skills, you know. So you need to learn how to do the job. So it could be what these days even coding is getting out of the way with AI and everything right now. AI is taking over coding and things like that. But just stay up to date with the changes in time, especially if you are a corporate person and you want to do the 9 to 5 thing forever. So just pick up more skills and just know that skills are way better than like a paper degree or something. Another thing I would like to say is that start small and build proof of work. You need to build proof of work. I'm going to speak for me as an actor. So the first job I did for Shelly as an actor was a minor role in a TV series called Dede. And then she saw me, and then that was the first proof of work I had. So that was on my CV and that was on my show reel. And then I went on to do other small jobs. And then because of that job, she saw how I conducted myself and how I behaved on that project and gave me another opportunity. Now, it went on to I had like so much proof of work now that the whole multi-choice DSTV like organization, the Aquabo Magic Group, thought it wise that I could fit, or I fit to be the face of the House of Glue franchise, you know. So it was really, really cool that they trusted me with the role of they trusted me with a lead character role for that project. But why did I get there? I got there because I had small jobs that I've done that they saw that, okay, this guy can carry this on his track record. So I would say build a proof of work, build your proof of work before you start aiming for like greater things. And in the corporate world, the things that you can look out for, I think, is like join these free courses for training, short trainings, and then like free courses online. Udemy provides like platform where you can learn. I know there's Coursera as well, and there are all these fantastic platforms that you can learn from. Another thing I think in this day and age we need a lot is social currency. You need to know people. So because you need to know people as well, try your best to go volunteer for stuff. Just volunteer for like most stuff. Like volunteer for any field, in any field that you're passionate about and you're aiming to be in. Volunteer for events that are going on in those industries and in those spaces. You never know who you might meet. So yeah, this is going to be the last thing I'm going to say, that I came from Dodo Amount, from a small village in the KJB Asatu region, which is in the OT region. And now I happen to be on billboards. I happen to be on big screens in rich people's home. Some people like me, where I come from, we don't TV in the car, we don't have some now. Billboard and big screens. But I'm saying this just for you to know that if I can do it, brother, you can. You know, you can. Don't let anybody stop you, and just keep pushing, and I'll see you in the next one. Anyways, thank you for watching the video, and leave your questions, your comments, anything in the comment section, and I'll be willing to reply you. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one. Love you.